All right, we still have another 5 minutes or so till we start, but if you want to find a seat, there's seating up here, up on the balcony, so take the next 5 minutes just to get comfy, take care of yourself, and we'll launch soon. All right, we're going to start in just another minute or two. So if you don't have a seat yet, if you could come find one. There's room up here. There's room on the balcony. Thank you. You good? Yeah. All right, we're going to get started. Welcome to the 14th graduation ceremony for the High Tech High Graduate School of Education. My name is Kelly Wilson. I serve as Dean for the GSE. It's my honor and pleasure to kick us off today. Thank you to the incredible team of students, of faculty, of staff that made it possible for us to celebrate this momentous day together, both in person in the forum and also with all of those that are joining us from around the world. We're so lucky to have their support, and thank you for all the work that went into making today possible. We're excited to honor the accomplishments of the graduating class of 2022, as well as all of the family members and all of the loved ones that have supported them in their journey along the way. Little did you know that you were also signing up for graduate school and would be part of the team that would help get them to the finish line. So huge applause to all the loved ones that helped make this possible. I would like to begin by acknowledging the land that we stand on, the unceded ancestral homeland of the Kumeyaay Nation. The GSE extends its deep respect and gratitude to the Kumeyaay people who have lived here for over a millennia and continue to live here today. We remain committed to addressing the harm that colonization has inflicted upon Kumeyaay people and other historically marginalized communities. I would also like us to take a moment to call in our ancestors and to honor those that have come before us. May their struggles and their triumphs not be in vain, and may we continue to realize our ancestors' wildest dreams. I know many of you are the first in your family to earn a master's degree, and it's a big deal that you're here today, so huge applause for all of those. Truly changing the trajectory for their lives, for their families, and for generations to come. Over the past 2 years, the dueling pandemics of COVID-19 and racial injustice have inspired educators to learn, to unlearn, and to reimagine what might be done differently to advance equity and to further collective liberation. Rather than returning to normal this year, a normal that was inequitable by design, your teaching and your leadership in the field this year have shown us that we all need to continue to adapt and innovate if we wish to further justice for all. To be clear, the challenges before us are real and can often feel overwhelming. Our democracy continues to be threatened by misinformation and polarization and racially motivated violence, and violence against children in schools continues to plague our nation. At a time when young people truly need us most, we're also facing a shortage of new teachers entering the field and seeing veteran teachers leaving at higher rates than ever before. While these challenges may cause you at times to question the path that you have chosen, we hope that they also fuel your purpose and your commitment to transforming young people's lives in the society we live in through the power of education. As Jeff Duncan Andrade has shared through his analogy of growing roses in concrete, we must hold on to the critical hope and belief that each and every child has inherent value and brilliance, and that together we can make this world a better place. At the GSE, our mission is to prepare teachers and leaders to reimagine education grounded in both justice and deeper learning. We imagine a more just world in which all young people are engaged in the deepest form of learning experiences that celebrate and leverage students' unique identities, experiences, and cultural backgrounds, that encourage students to unapologetically be their full and authentic selves, and that cultivate students' sense of belonging and agency to make change in the world. As alumni of the GSD, you are joining a powerful network of over 287 change makers that actively disrupt the status quo to unleash students' inherent brilliance, inspire work that matters, and create life-changing outcomes, especially for those furthest from privilege. As Bell Hooks stated so powerfully, we believe in education as a practice of freedom, and that the practice of love is the most powerful antidote to the politics of domination. The word love is often used as a noun, yet Hooks believed we might all love better if we used it as a verb. She defined love as the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth, or to help another self-actualize and reach their full potential. This is what we do as educators and as leaders, and we hope that as you continue on your journey, you stay rooted in love as you work to further justice for all. Congratulations, class of 2022. We are filled with a renewed sense of critical hope that our world will shine brighter because of each of you. All right, and next I'm going to invite Katie up, who is going to welcome our keynote. Katie co-directs the Masters in Ed Leadership program. Come on up.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my immense honor to introduce our commencement speaker today, Dr. Stephen Chambers. Dr. Chambers started his career over a decade ago in Houston, Texas. He was an elementary school teacher, a college access counselor, and a district administrator, associate pastor, and the founder of 2 African-American male mentoring programs. Dr. Chambers says that he finds his purpose deeply rooted in resourcing the repair of individual and social systems of brokenness. Currently, Dr. Chambers serves as the executive director of Imagine NYC Schools, a community-led innovation of the New York City Department of Education that is focused on designing new school models and completely reimagining existing schools in the city of New York City. Dr. Chambers recently earned his ED-LD from Harvard's Graduate School of Education. And he's also a data-wise improvement coach. He approaches the work of community and school system leadership through the lens of continuous improvement, racial equity, and social emotional wellness. We're also honored that Dr. Chambers is a practitioner faculty member here at the High Tech High GSE, where I have had the pleasure of co-teaching a course with him for this past school year. And I know him to be someone who is deeply passionate and mission-driven, adaptable, endlessly optimistic, very easygoing, and brilliant. Let's give him a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Kelly, for the invitation. It is a pleasure to be here today. Class of 2022, make some noise. That's right. That's right. You made it. What a year. As we continue to come out of this pandemic, there's no doubt being an educator and student has been two of the toughest jobs. If you've been in a school this year, I don't have to tell you about the seemingly infinite challenges that have pushed against teaching and learning, extracurricular programming, working with staff, supporting families, managing your own families and personal life, caring for mental and physical health, and offering the best you have to give in the classroom. So let's stop right now, take a deep breath, in through your nose, out through your mouth. One more time, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Now give yourselves a round of applause. Welcome to the celebration, the graduation, the commencement of High Tech High Graduate School of Education's class of 2022. When you hear the word commencement, what comes to mind? I want you to shout it out. What comes to mind? Just keep them coming. Yep. What comes to mind? I know there's more minds in here. What comes to mind when you hear commencement? That's right. Commencement. Commence. To begin or start. To chart a path. Blaze a trail. Spark a flame. Write a future. Lean into a new season. Breathe a fresh breath. Create, build, refresh, disrupt, launch, discover, restore, come alive. Come alive. When I think of the term come alive, I think of my favorite quote. This quote is by Howard Thurman. And he reminds us not to ask ourselves what the world needs, but to ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go do that. Because what the world needs are people who have come alive. Thurman was himself an educator, theologian, and philosopher whose scholarship and passion for social justice laid a firm foundation for the civil rights movement. He mentored numerous students in his post as faculty and dean of chapel at both Howard and Boston universities. He trained civil rights leaders such as James Farmer, Pauli Murray, and acted as spiritual advisor for the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. What made him come alive was shifting culture by bridging differences across diverse communities. So what makes you come alive today? As you prepare to commence, ask yourself, what brings me to life? What are the issues that keep you up at night, pulling at your heartstrings? Where is the work that gives you energy and leaves you refreshed? Who are the ones you feel deeply connected to and called to support? How are you envisioning your next season of impact? Perhaps it's continuing the work that you're already doing, but with deeper conviction, reflection, and intention. Or maybe this is a push to pivot into something you've been afraid to explore, someone you've been apprehensive to grow into. We know the only constant in life is change. So how do you want to control the inevitable? You know, one of the things about speaking at a June commencement that I really enjoy and appreciate is that I get to adopt and iterate on some fun facts that I've pulled along the way from other May ceremonies. And I heard somebody share something interesting the other day. This was something that I had never heard before, and it inspired me. It inspired me to do two things. First, it inspired me to do a little fact checking. The second thing it inspired me to do is to reflect on the implications of what was shared. Show a sign of acknowledgement in whatever way you're able if you've heard of WD-40. Okay. So WD-40, there's a rule from where I come from. We call it the duct tape the WD-40 rule. If it doesn't move, if it moves and it's not supposed to move, you put some duct tape on it. If it doesn't move and it's supposed to move, you put some WD-40 on it. And so WD-40 is a household name where I come from. But I never knew where the name came from. In fact, and many of you may know this, I did not. In 1953, right here in San Diego, the Rocket Chemical Company was formed to create a product that would prevent rust and remove extra grease from aerospace parts. Did not know that. What they probably didn't anticipate was how many attempts at their product it would take to get right. Can you guess that magic number? That's right. 5 years and 40 rounds of iteration later, water displacement 40, aka WD-40, hit store shelves to silence and lubricate all of our household needs. 40 attempts, 40 failures, 40 lessons learned, 40 cycles of improvement, starting fresh, then reflecting and improving over and over and over and over again. What I appreciate most about this story is that instead of hiding this fact, they celebrated their hard work by branding these attempts. For me, WD-40 is now a symbol of commencement. It stands for reflection and courage to grow and change and improve. What would it be like to highlight your ongoing journey of improvement and impact? For Walt Disney, it looked like sharing the time where he was fired from a newspaper early in his career because they told him he lacked imagination. For Oprah Winfrey, it looked like being told she didn't have the look or personality to be on TV. For Steven Spielberg, it looked like being rejected not once, not twice, but 3 times from film school. For Michael Jordan, it looked like being cut from his high school basketball team. Today, I encourage you to take a step forward, to start something new, to move forward with a deeper passion and a stronger conviction. You did not make it this far to just make it this far. So as today marks a new step on a continual journey, remember to come alive in your work. Celebrate your attempts, your failures, your lessons, and your victories. Our young people need you. The education sector needs you. The culture needs you. Go and be great, class of 2022.
Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Brittany Quinones, and I am the Admissions and Outreach Manager, as most of the students know. And what we're going to do right now is a little bit of housekeeping. So we are going to split ceremonies. SDTR is going to stay right here in the forum. So we're going to do a little bit of adjustments, and EDL, Ed Leadership, is going to move along to the gym. It's not very far, but we're going to head out this way and head straight back into the gym. If you keep walking, you will absolutely find it. So we're going to give everyone about 15 minutes. So if you need to go to the restrooms are right here. There's also another restroom closer to the gym. If you need water, we've got waters on the side here. And EDL grads, I actually need you to come over to me. I have some swag for you. So EDL grads, grab your swag bags. Families, walk over, and we will get back started with our degrees in 15 minutes. Woo, thank you.
Microphone. Thank you. If we can have all the SDTR grads come and sit in the first 2 rows. I'm going to ask for all the SDTR graduates to come sit in the first 2 rows. Thank you. at you all. It's all you. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So go ahead and find your seats, all graduates to the front.
No pressure, Nicole. No pressure.
All right. Well, welcome again. This is our third annual or ever graduation for the SDTR graduates. So big kudos to you all. My name is Dr. Curtis Taylor. I'm one of the instructors for the program. Today we are celebrating 18 graduates here before you. We are thrilled to celebrate your phenomenal work and accomplishments today. The ceremony will flow as follows. A who's who in the room. Sorry. Who's who. There we go. And then we're going to have some graduation marks from our director, Dr. Sarah Fine. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yep. Which will follow the awarding of the degrees with personalized remarks by each of the M.Ed instructors. And finally, we'll have space for open mic sharing for our graduates. So any family, friends, or others, or the graduates themselves can come up and share any remarks that they will like to make. So we're going to play a game before we get started. So our game is who's who in the room. So when I kind of share out a characteristic and you fall into either that category or characteristic, you're going to stand up. So we're going to start off. If you are a High Tech High alum, I would love for you to stand up so we can give you some cheers. If you're a High Tech High alum, woo! Woo woo! If you are the first in your family to earn a master's degree, first in your family. If you joined the GSE as a member of the SDTR cohort last year. Join? Yep. If you are a friend or family member of one or more of the graduates, stand up, please. There you go. And lastly, if you are a teacher or school leader who mentored, coached, or supported any one of our students, we'd love for you to stand. And then we want to acknowledge Haley, Charity, and Brittany, who have been the glue that holds our program together, to put forward this beautiful ceremony. So kudos to them. All right, Dr. Fine, I'm going to give it over to you.
Hi, everyone. I just want to really quickly acknowledge we have two other groups of alums, and I realize that we are neglecting you because we've never had you before. So if you were a member of a previous SDTR cohort and rejoined us this year, please stand up. And if you joined us via the district intern program and came that way, stand up. Woo! And finally, I just want to say, because Dr. Taylor won't do it himself, but I am the director of the San Diego Teacher Residency, but Dr. Curtis Taylor is the director of the M.Ed in Teaching and Learning strand of our program, and duly deserved, because he does such an incredible job of holding this. One of my personal growth goals involves delegating to brilliant people around me, and I cannot think of a more brilliant person to hold the second year experience for this program for all of the people who go through it. So I'm just so grateful for and all of the other course instructors who you will hear from in just a little bit. So before we move into the awarding of degrees, which of course is the moment everybody's waiting for, so we won't belabor it for too long right now, I wanted to give a little bit of context for this moment right now. So the High Tech High Graduate School of Education is the nation's first graduate school to be fully embedded in a K-12 school system and to emerge out of a K-12 project, providing rich opportunities to merge theory and practice and to, in the words of the original GSE president, Rob Reardon, utilize experience as text. So really to think about the experiences of being educators and the problems and dilemmas and opportunities of practice that arise in our classrooms as something we can study and unpack and work to transform through our work as graduate students. It is our aspiration, just as we refer to our K-12 schools as an equity project, that the High Tech High Graduate School develops disruptive educators who have the skills to end predictable patterns of success and failure, correlated to factors like socioeconomic status, race, culture, perceived ability, gender, and we could go on, and who bring rich, deeper learning and justice-oriented experiences to all of the young people and adults that come under their care now and in the future. Over the past decade, actually more than a decade now, the High Tech High Graduate School has awarded more than 200 degrees in educational leadership. But as Dr. T alluded to, this is only the third year that we have awarded degrees in teaching and learning. And so the students who are graduating today are, in the best sense of the phrase, guinea pigs. In joining a 3 years young program, they took a leap of faith, and they had a unique, I will just leave it at unique, because half of these folks came through the residency in the era of Zoom school. And so their experience entering the profession and becoming professional educators in this context has been as distinctive as one might possibly imagine, and I sort of hope it will never be quite so distinctive again. But they took a leap of faith, and they helped us to really co-design experiences that would support them all along the way. And I will speak to this group from last year and years prior that we just deeply value the ways that you have helped us to refine the design of our program and have weighed in really meaningful, rich ways about what you need and what the people in your classrooms need in order to make sure that this program helps you toward the goals that you've set for yourselves. We are and always will be immensely grateful for their trust and sometimes their patience and their brilliance. They have helped to shape the path for many teachers who we hope will follow in their footsteps. Our intention and goal is that graduates of the program share a common repertoire of skills and mindsets. They are reflective, equity-focused, learner-centered educators who know how to construct learning experiences which invite students to engage in authentic work. They recognize that skillful teaching is a combination of art and science, and both of those things matter deeply. That must be buttressed by a belief in the agency and creative capacities and brilliance of all the young people in their care. Graduates also recognize that the processes of teaching and schooling are never neutral. They understand that all decisions, pedagogical and otherwise, have the potential to either perpetuate or disrupt patterns of inequity and marginalization, or conversely, to disrupt a system and transform it into something where everyone feels welcomed and able to be and grow into their most brilliant versions of themselves. Finally, having engaged in the Master's Capstone Project, which Dr. T and these brilliant course instructors have supported them through, they know how to look to scholarly work, which can inform their practice, and they do so regularly when problems of practice arise. And Curtis is going to move us toward the moment everybody's waiting for.
All right. So before we start to move into awarding of the degrees, just want to talk a little bit about the M.Ed program. So the beauty of the M.Ed program is that it has prepared our teachers to become what we call teacher researchers. The program demonstrates the professionalism that it takes place within teaching and highlights how complex the work of teaching truly is. Each graduate participated in 3 lesson study inquiry cycles where they collectively researched an improvement issue in their classroom, such as how do we position our emerging bilingual students as competent and capable members of our learning communities. They have learned to transform scholarly research, as Dr. Fine has talked about, into practical change ideas, to tests, learn how to collect data that informs their work, and develop a dual lens on equity and content understanding. There is so much more that I could say about this extraordinary group of graduates, but I leave it at that so that we can get into the part of the celebration that everyone has been waiting for, the awarding degrees by our 5 course instructors who have supported this group this year as they completed their lesson study cycles, which together made up their master capstones project. So we're going to have Dr. Kamatsabar. We will have Dr. Curtis Sadie, who is me, Ruth Smith, Matt Sheelan, and Dr. Kate Challen, who will be presenting degrees. Thank you. All right, so let's get into the fun part. All right, we're going to start with Dr. Sarah Fine. She will start us off, and then Dr. Kristen Kamatsabar will follow after.
This is a dramatic pause while I get my materials in order here. I will tell you that the person I'm going to be talking about in a moment is an oddball in the best possible sense because she did our international accelerated M.Ed plus credential pathway this year. And so although I am not part of the course instructor crew, I do have the pleasure of kicking us off with her. So, Ying Ying. Come on up here. Okay. You don't get your degree quite yet because I get to embarrass you right now for this. No, it's great. So Ying Ying is a quiet powerhouse. After moving to San Diego from China and completing her M.Ed in educational leadership last year, she was here at this graduation in the other room last year. She was so curious to further develop her pedagogical prowess and her understanding of project-based teaching that she decided to stay on for another year and earn a second master's degree plus a math teaching credential with us. I can make a joke about her being a sucker for punishment, but the truth is that Ying Ying truly has a bottomless reservoir of intellectual curiosity and deep dedication to learning about learning. She listens with her whole self, holds beautiful space for her students and peers to unpack their own experiences, and asks the kind of penetrating questions that suggest she is always thinking about what it means to teach for justice and deep learning. Having observed her residency at her placement in 7th grade math at High Tech Middle Chula Vista, I can say with confidence that she is well on her way to becoming a spectacularly student-centered and equity-focused teacher. We are all better off for having known her and worked with her this year. Congratulations, Ying Ying.
All right, welcome everybody. Can you hear me all? Okay. I have the pleasure of introducing 4 of our graduates today, starting with Adriana Navarro. Woohoo! Let me there we go. All right, so upon first meeting Adriana, you will notice her calm and composed presence. Yet spend time with her and you will see that she is fierce. Adriana is fierce in her beliefs about social justice, fierce in her work ethic as a teacher and graduate student, and fierce in her commitment to student learning. Adriana is also courageous, and at the start of this year, she volunteered to be host in our very first lesson study cycle, opening her classroom and her practice to learn with colleagues. Together, Adriana and her team explored how cultivating mathematical mindsets can encourage student participation. This lesson helped Adriana and her team identify the necessary conditions to promote student engagement and connections. Thank you, Adriana, for all your hard work in ensuring welcoming and inclusive spaces for all your students. Congratulations. Whoops. Let me actually put this here. Next up is Carrie Jeremiah. All right. It is difficult to begin to express how lucky we are to have Carrie as part of our cohort. She is Wonder Woman, juggling her responsibilities as mother, partner, teacher, and graduate student. And in each of her roles, she leads with compassion, honesty, and purpose. Carrie has the natural ability to ensure everyone she interacts with feels welcomed and valued. And this is no different in her 5th grade classroom, where she greets every student warmly and works to cultivate a culture where students listen, share, and celebrate each other's ideas. Her teacher colleagues describe Carrie as a role model of humanity and empathy. If you ever need someone to talk to, Carrie is there. She is a champion for equity, leading courageous conversations on anti-racist work and social justice projects. Thank you, Carrie, for leading by example. We have all learned so much from you. All right, next is Yannicka Esther Nyberg. Come on up. I know, dramatic pause. All right, to say that Yannicka does it all is an understatement. This year, Yannicka completed her student teaching, master's research, and was our only resident doing 2 years of coursework in one. She did it all with grace and a smile on her face. Yannicka also developed an interest in the social and emotional development necessary to support the learning of pre-service teachers and the continued growth of in-service teachers. This is a nascent area of research, and we love that Yannicka has chosen to explore something that has the potential to contribute to this field. She conducted multiple interviews to learn about what adult SEL practices currently exist within the field of teacher preparation and has used those interviews to build a workshop for pre-service teachers. We are so excited to see where her research leads her and imagine that this could be a generative line of exploration for Yannicka's future study. Yannicka, we have learned so much alongside you, and we look forward to your future accomplishments. Congratulations. And next is Nicole Josephine Sammartano. I know. There is so much to celebrate about Nicole. She is truly a joy to work with, and in the past 2 years, she has been a pillar of consistent and grounding strength for our cohort. She helps keep us focused and honest in our work by asking difficult questions that push our thinking and refocus our attention. Nicole's warmth and caring extends to students and colleagues, and she creates relationships with both easily. It was amazing to watch her learn and grow during her student teaching and master's research, a lot of which can be attributed to her willingness to seek feedback and to use it to improve her practice. I know this learning stance will help her to continue to develop as an impactful and empathetic educator. Congratulations, Nicole. And next we have Dr. Taylor.
All right. Woo. So next we're going to have Adriana Torres Ponce. All right. I'm so honored to be sharing a few remarks about Adriana Ponce. The work that Ponce does for her students echoes the mission of the project, which is deeper learning, equity, and justice. Ponce is an equity-oriented educator. She not only pushed for the best for her students, but also pushed the best from us as instructors. Ponce was always willing to dive deeper into the work to ensure that change does happen and that it happens on a deep level. In addition, Ponce is the essence of a reflective educator, as she and I have shared multiple conversations about the complexity of this work. Ponce, I'm so proud of you, the work that you have done this year and what you'll continue to do in the future. Congratulations. All right, now next up we have Morgan Nitcher, Mary Morgan Nitcher. Woo, woo. Woo! Say that's your best friend. I always love being able to celebrate and honor my fellow mathematics educators. Although I may not have had many opportunities to observe Morgan in action in her classroom, I could tell that she has developed beautiful relationships with all of her students. Morgan exemplified the willingness to be transparent in her practice by opening up her classroom as a host. She has dug deep into understanding how to teach mathematics in an equitable way and allows for her students to experience competency, belongingness, and agency. Morgan constantly pushes herself to grow in the work that she has done within and out of the program. I'm so proud of what you have accomplished this year and what you will continue to do in the future. Congratulations. Next up, Rafaelina Grano. Woo woo! I'm so honored to have met Rafaelina this year. Rafaelina helped me to understand the power of intentionality. From the way that she designed and structured her own resources to the intention she placed within her lesson study cycles, and even the takeaways that she took from each learning cycle demonstrated the focus on intentionality. Rafaelina was one of the first to host a research lesson study in her classroom, going far and beyond of just conducting the lesson study in one class period, but two. Overachiever here. I've enjoyed the process of watching Rafaelina grow as a researcher and the work that she does and how she's able to create practical ideas from research. Also, she's a phenomenal writer. I can't wait to see what articles you'll publish in the future. I'm just so proud of you and what you have accomplished and continue to do what you do in the future. Congratulations. And next we have Rebecca Snowden. Imagine, Maya Angelou marveled, I had so many rainbows in my clouds. I had a lot of clouds, but I had a lot of rainbows. Rebecca, you've been one of those rainbows, not only to me, but to your fellow graduates and the students that you serve. I don't think I have ever seen Rebecca without a smile on her face. The joy and love that she has radiates. I hope this day proves to you how much of a champion you are as an individual and a champion for others. You are always willing to put your all into the practice of lesson study with your peers. You are always there to support and ask the next question. You have grown immensely through this program, and you should be very proud of yourself. Congratulations, Rebecca. Continue to create and all that loving and wonderful experiences for all of your students. Congratulations.
I was just trying to make sure I don't fall down these steps. I'm the clumsiest person. All right. I get the honor of presenting the next 3 scholars. All right. First one is Layla Delbano Drennan. I'm so honored to have met Layla this year. In all her interactions with students, Layla radiates empathy and love. She greets every student individually and goes out of her way to connect with students in their personal lives. Layla is confident, hardworking, and always willing to lend a helping hand. At the core of her work, Layla prioritizes building positive relationships and being a warm demander to ensure student growth. This was evident during her lesson study as students gained confidence in being storytellers through writing. I appreciate the willingness that Layla has in growing as an educator by not being afraid to ask questions, push on others' thinking, including herself, and asking for support when needed. I'm so proud of you, Layla. Congratulations. All right, next is Madison Murillo. Yay. You got this. Oh man, there's so much I can say about Madison. I have had the pleasure of not only being one of her course instructors, but I was also her supervisor. And as her supervisor, I got to see Madison blossom into this confident educator who truly cares about equity or equitable practices and truly being student-centered. She lovingly invites her students to participate in classroom discussions and sets expectations for her students that make them all feel successful and included. Madison creates a classroom community that's not only fun, but also a warm and welcoming space to be in. I'm proud of your dedication to your teaching practice and the love that you pour into your students. Congratulations, Madison. Woo! All right, next, Melina Mendoza-Aguirre. Come on up. It has been a pleasure being one of Melina's instructors this year. Melina is such a dedicated educator who truly wants the best for her students. Not only has Melina been working towards a master's and working as a full-time teacher, but she has also been working extra hours throughout the year alongside with me in a fellowship of teachers who are working towards co-creating a supplemental math program that aids students in their conceptual understanding of fractions. She is truly a superwoman. For Melina, teaching is an act of love, and I am excited for her continued journey as an educator. Congratulations.
Little mood lighting here. I love it. For these next three, lucky them. All right, for our next person who cannot be here today, so I want to, hopefully she's watching, and I'll direct that to the camera. We have Alicia Green Cooksey. It has been wonderful working with Sia, from serving as an Odyssey mentor to her during her first year at High Tech High, to now having the chance to have her as a student for her final class of her master's program. Sia's heart and belief in the power of education is unmatched. She brings a passion and level of care to her work with her students that they are truly lucky to have such a dedicated teacher. Sia knows the kind of change she wants to see in the world and works hard to make that a reality through her work as an educator. Always willing to support her fellow teachers and jump in with a creative idea, Sia is truly someone who wants others to succeed. I'm excited to follow all of her next steps as an educator. Congratulations, and I know that Sia wanted to dedicate this to her father, so congratulations, Sia. All right, next up, we have Chelsea Smith. Yeah. So I first met Chelsea as a new teacher in the High Tech High Teacher Center credential program and was struck by her incredible creativity and warmth. I've now had the opportunity to teach Chelsea as an intern teacher, collaborate with her on a second 12th grade project right before COVID shut it all down, and now work with her in her final class of her master's program. Throughout all those experiences, Chelsea has put her students at the forefront of her work and challenged herself to continue to grow as an educator in every way. I've seen how much her students enjoy her relatable style of teaching and how much her peers appreciate having her as a thoughtful collaborator. Chelsea is dedicated to making the world a more equitable, fun, and creative place, and I'm excited to see her continued journey as an artist and educator. Congratulations. All right, next up we have Sam Polakowski. Come on up, Sam. All right. I'm grateful to have met Sam this year and have had the privilege to teach him in his last class of the program. Sam epitomizes kindness and support in everything he does. He's always one to ask you how you're doing, see how he can help, and find ways to use his considerable talents to support those around him. Sam puts his students first, and he worked hard to bring the ideas from his lesson study team around UDL back into his classroom in a way that made his students feel supported. It was particularly impressive to see the connections Sam made between his elementary school lesson study to his middle school context. It's been a pleasure working with Sam during these last few months, and I can't wait to follow his growth as an educator and an all-around great human. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Okay, team, I'm going to bring us home. With Freddie Miranda. Woo! I had the pleasure of being both a course instructor and induction coach to Freddie this year, and there is much to celebrate. Don't be fooled by Freddie's calm and kind nature. You might miss his relentless determination to support students and be the best teacher he can be. Despite his primary role as an inclusion specialist, Freddie took on the challenge this year of designing and teaching a mathematics lesson for 10th grade students. Freddie was willing to try a range of techniques that gave all students access to higher level mathematics. He created opportunities for students to experience success in maths and fostered positive interdependence. Freddie embraced creating social justice connections for students, a feat that is often a challenge for even the most seasoned mathematics teachers. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the quality of Freddie's written work. Always such a pleasure to read. Freddie is a skilled communicator, and I'm so grateful to have played even a small role in Freddie's journey as an educator. I know our students are in great hands. Congratulations. This is not a good platform. Let me just say. Change idea next year. Next up, we have Julianne Ray. The first time I walked into Julie's classroom, I was captivated by all the positive messaging on her walls. She surrounds students with words of encouragement and support. I was then struck by the calmness that she brings and instills in her middle school students, from stretching to meditation and sometimes just getting out the wiggles. Julie brought that same student-centeredness to our lesson study work this year. Despite juggling a host of challenges outside of her school life, she always found ways to stay engaged and connected to her group and the work. Julie's kindness and empathy for students have been obvious this year, and I'm so excited for all the ways she continues to develop as a teacher. Congratulations. Next up, the lovely Kelsey Seal. There are so many things to love about Kelsey. Firstly, her love of students is as extensive as her range of music appreciation, which includes Garth Brooks and BTS. As an inclusion specialist, Kelsey pays close attention to all the ways we can support students to be the best people they can be. I particularly admired Kelsey's willingness to lean into mathematics this year, to design experiences where all of our students can be successful. She pays meticulous attention to student strengths and thinks creatively about ways to leverage those strengths to achieve academic excellence. Kelsey has taken on a lot this year between her master's work and induction, and she's handled the workload with grace and efficiency. I'm so proud of your growth, and I can't wait to follow your journey as an educator. Congratulations. Okay, last but certainly not least, Victoria Acosta. V is a kind and generous human. She's demonstrated her generosity this year by sharing Google Drives, welcoming our friends on Zoom, and even bringing snacks that she may or may not have stolen from High Tech Middle. She shared her love of animals by adding images of stretchy kitties to our slide deck. And as an educator, V is all about advocacy. Her lesson study focused on sustainability, but more importantly, on elevating student voice by speaking truth to power. In addition to creating an imaginary project about an in-classroom toilet to prevent students from missing class to go to the bathroom, V demonstrated creativity and innovation in her lesson study design. In arguably the toughest year of education, where first-year teachers could be forgiven for being satisfied with student compliance, V empowered students to see themselves as change makers. V has shown many times over that she believes in her students and has truly embodied social justice teaching. Congratulations. I'm going to stall for a second while our student speaker, V, comes up to share some of her words of wisdom with us all. That's as slow as I can speak.
Heads up, I'm shaking. Hey. Also, just asking for a friend. Does this go on this side or this side? All right. We're doing great. Okay. Hello, my name is Victoria Costa, and I'm very grateful to have this time and space to share some words. Thanks. I would like to thank everyone joining us in celebrating our latest accomplishment in receiving our master's degree in teaching and learning from High Tech High's Graduate School of Education. I say the latest accomplishment because this group of humans is full of not only the best and the brightest, but also the funniest, kindest, warmest, and lovingest, those are all real words, group of humans at the High Tech High organization. I have been lucky to know these folks here for a while now, and I can honestly say that I would not be here today had it not been for the kindness I was shown by my classmates, instructors, mentors, and students. In my time up here, and in true V fashion, I'd like to talk about myself. And and hopefully impress upon you some things that I've learned from all those who got me here today. The first is this: you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. In an effort to inspire, I thought that would get more laughs. Yeah. In an effort to inspire you all, I want to share a recent shot of mine. In April, my dean of students announced she was moving on from my school, and so I thought, why not apply? After all, my favorite part about teaching is walking down the halls, talking with my students about everything on their mind. It is my belief that I was made to be dean of students. I set my goal to be dean, I manifested the hell out of it, and I even started referring to it as my job, saying, next year when I'm dean of students, I will. You can ask my mom. I put a lot of time and effort into the goal. In May, I applied, I interviewed, and I made it to the final round. Thanks. Unfortunately, I fell short in years of experience, and the hiring committee decided to move forward with 2 other candidates. Why am I sharing this story? For 2 reasons. For one, to brag that I made it to the final round of 14 candidates. Thank you. And 2, because even though I wasn't offered the position, there was no way I would have been had I not applied. In all honesty, I consider it a win. I learned from my director, my dean, the hiring committee, colleagues like Sarah Fine, and friends like Raph, that they all believed I have what it takes to make a positive change in a role that I myself was nervous about. So I beg of you, take the shot as many times as you need to, because when it is meant to be, it will be. And even if you don't accomplish your goal the first time around, you are bound to learn some very important things about you, yourself. Second, you can't monopolize the staff bathroom crying space. As many of you here today already know, I am a huge crybaby. I would show up to class every night needing to be comforted and consoled about the wins and losses of my day. If I had $1 for every time I cried this past year, my very first year with my very own class, I would have a whole lot of money, as I'm sure many of us here today would. Knowing this, I want to remind you, you can't monopolize the staff bathroom crying space, so you might as well cry whenever and wherever you are. Cry with your colleagues, with your students, with anyone and everyone who is willing and able to hold space for you. Recently, my director told a colleague of mine after a particularly emotional meeting, crying and professionalism are not mutually exclusive. Never feel the need to apologize. Instead, we ought to thank you for sharing this moment with us. We are human, and to deny ourselves our beautiful emotions can have not only a negative effect on ourselves, but anyone who sees us hold back our emotions for fear of judgment. After having cried with all of my 7th and 8th graders, I have shared as many emotionally beautiful moments with them as I have cried with them. For every time my students have sought me out to cry, they have also sought me out to celebrate, to laugh, to vent, to question, to problem solve, and to, oh baby, and to, crap. Y'all think I'm kidding, I lost my spot. And to feel the big, thank you, Kelsey, and beautiful emotions of the world together. So again, I beg of you, cry like your students depend on it, because they do. Without your vulnerability and willingness to feel, how can we expect our students to come into any space as their true, authentic, and emotional selves? Tercero, llegamos aquí, pero no llegamos solo. Mis abuelos, Rubén Acosta, que no pudo estar presente hoy, Elena Acosta, Jorge y Victoria Moreno, que descansen en paz, me han apoyado en todo lo que ha hecho desde el kinder. Fue por su determinación de emigrar a los Estados Unidos que yo puedo estar aquí hoy. De todas mis metas cumplidas, mis abuelos nunca han oído lo que fue posible para nosotros en su idioma materna, porque siempre ha sido en inglés. Por esta razón, quiero decirles hoy, gracias. Gracias por todo lo que han hecho para que nuestra familia pudiera vivir una vida tan hermosa, llena de oportunidad y promesa. Yo sé que ustedes tienen fe y están orgullosos de mí porque nunca han olvidado decirme que yo puedo hacer todo con el apoyo de mi familia. Ustedes me crearon para que no sea inferior a nadie. Nunca voy a olvidar todo lo que hicieron para que nosotros pudiéramos tener una buena vida. Y a las familias aquí hoy, que hicieron lo mismo y más, gracias a ustedes. No nos merecemos tanto privilegios y por eso vamos a hacer todo para enseñarles que estamos agradecidos. Muchísimas gracias a todos y a mis abuelos. Los quiero mucho. And finally, smile on your humanity and forgive yourself. Some of you might think, but I haven't done anything wrong. And to that I say, ooh, girl, that's exactly what someone in need of forgiveness would say. Quick story time. Last one, I promise. When I was in college, I was given the absolute honor of accompanying a beloved Jesuit priest from his residence to our undergraduate pizza party. The task was simple. Meet Father Gillick, who is blind, at the Jesuit Gardens at 6 p.m., then walk him down to the dining hall. That day was especially long, so naturally, after work, I went straight home and took a nap. I woke up at 11 p.m. in a panic. Realizing my mistake, I immediately emailed him saying how sorry I was. Father Gillick replied with the simplest, sincerest message: smile on your humanity and forgive yourself. I know as teachers, we don't often make mistakes, but in those rare times that we do, take Father Gillick's advice to heart. Smile on your humanity and forgive yourself, because we can only show as much kindness to others as we do to ourselves. And oftentimes, the humans we find ourselves with every day, both big and small, are in desperate need of not only forgiveness, but of our kindness and our smiles. This is all to say, what a wonderful 2 years this has been. I know in the future, when I've had time to process and appreciate all that we have done together, I will be able to write words about the lessons you have taught me, both in the classroom and out. While we may each go our own ways for now, while we may be at different school locations, working with different folks, hey cutie, I challenge you, when you think of someone from our program, let them know. When you remember a lesson from our time together, reach out to the folks who were there with you, or who helped you grow as a teacher and as a human. Keep in touch with those who were there for you when you cried and when you celebrated. Remember that we are who we are because of the people that surround us. Hold the kindness you've shown and been shown close to your hearts. Thank you to my classmates, our instructors, colleagues, and our students for an amazing experience, because without you, we'd have no shoulders to cry on or friends to celebrate with. I adore you all. I appreciate your existence. And congratulations on a degree well earned.
Wow. Thank you, V. And congratulations to our graduates. We're not quite done. It is a GSE tradition that at the end of every graduation awarding of degree ceremony, we open the floor for anyone, families, friends, instructors, graduates, to share anything that you feel is worth sharing or celebrating in this moment. I think V has done an incredible job of doing that formally, not formally, but with some pre-planning, but this is not an opportunity to be any kind of extremely articulate person, but just to share gratitude and celebrations just to mark this occasion. So we'll open the floor for about 20 minutes, and if you have not been part of our graduate school, there's gonna be weird moments of silence where everybody's looking around, kind of like, is somebody gonna get up? Is it me? Is somebody? And we just ask that you hold that space. And if there's really a lot of it, then we'll consider it over, but usually it's not. And I will come up when we just have a few minutes left to close things out. So with that, I want to open the floor. Maybe everybody take a moment and think about whether you have something you want to share with this group in this moment. And I'm going to take a step down, and when the Spirit moves, come on up. It looks like we already have someone.
Yesterday, I did a lot of crying because that's when it finally hit me that I was getting a master's degree. So yeah, they may seem a bit selfish, but I just want to thank some of the most important people that are here celebrating with me today. Starting with my brother, who's been my role model for as long as I can remember, and it's gone from wanting to dress like you and wanting to be like you in my teenage years to now wanting to pursue bachelor's degrees and master's degrees like you now that I'm in my 20s. And I'm fortunate to have been introduced to High Tech High during your internship years, and for many years now you've been one of the integral members at your school site, and I feel so much pride when elementary students who don't know my name refer to me as Mr. Oscar's brother. When I first started at High Tech 7 years ago, in North County, my brother and I got to work really closely with one particular student. And when the student was ready to promote from 8th grade to 9th grade, I asked him to sign my yearbook. And in it, he wrote, "Go and tell your mom that she raised 2 fine young men." And those that knew this student and the growth he made throughout the course of his middle school years would understand why those words still stick with me to this day. And he was right. My mom can now say that she raised 2 fine young men with master's degrees. And to my sister, who's right there on her journey as well to becoming another graduate of higher education in the family, I owe a lot of my success to you, always keeping me grounded, because I've had to be a role model and a big brother since the day you were born. And I've always wanted to be the best role model I can be, and that's pushed me to be the best version of myself at every stage in life. To my partner, who's been my strongest support system during the most challenging stage of my professional and educational career, gestures like packing me snacks with little notes for those long Wednesday evenings, or feeding me snacks while I complete assignments on your couch, letting me vent and cry while you reassure me that everything is going to be okay. I love you and all the support that you provide for me. Y finalmente, a mi papá y mi mamá, aquí está su hijo, todo un graduado, maestro en educación, producto de su sacrificio, labor y esfuerzo, de dejar a sus familias en su país para buscar un mejor futuro para sus hijos, de trabajar sin cansancio para que sus hijos pudieran vivir una vida cómoda. Espero que se sientan orgullosos de ver a sus hijos participar en graduación tras graduación. Nada me da más orgullo que el saber que venimos de gente humilde, sembradores de maíz, y ahora mis abuelitos no nomás cuentan los costales de maíz, sino también nietos con licenciaturas y maestrías. Nothing fills me with more pride than knowing that my family comes from humble people, farmers of corn. And now my grandparents not only count barrels of corn, but also grandchildren with bachelor's and master's degrees. This is from my family. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Wow. Normally, I would wait for the last one to speak. Sarah and Christine know me so well. But today, I want to challenge myself a little bit, just like how I challenge my students. And first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you, my family, especially my husband. Since you came here, I finally have a housewife. I would say, every teacher needs a housewife. That feels so good. And I also want to say thank you, my kids, for always tolerating my short temper, especially when it came to, my due day. And I want to say thank you, all my teachers and professors. You are my sunshine. And you changed me, and you transformed me. You changed my life trajectory. And I remember when I applied for High Tech High, I made up my mind to be a good educator. I don't know if I did it, but yesterday when I finished one of my teaching, a student just came to me and said, "Oh, Miss Ying, I love your class really, really, really much." And at that moment, I know you did it. And I know we did it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Layla's little sister, Carmen, and so Layla taught me the alphabet and how to spell my own name, and now it brings me so much joy to know that she is teaching other people the alphabet, kindergartners, and as long as I've known Layla, she has always wanted to be a teacher, never wanted to be a doctor, never wanted to be an astronaut, never wanted to be like an MLB player or anything. She wanted to be a teacher and an educator. And I'm so happy that she's followed her dream. And something I want to say about Layla is she fights for herself. And really in life, you need to fight for yourself. You need to be your #1 advocate. And I'm so happy to be Layla's cheerleader. And we all are, and we're so proud of you.
Hey everyone, that's my wife, Morgan. Man, I am so grateful to be your husband and to be, here. I just feel like you persevered through so much. I remember even just when we were talking and you were talking about, I quit engineering and now I'm going to go out here and be a teacher at High Tech High. And I was like, wow, there's a person with a dream. And I'm so proud of you. I know you've persevered through so much, through COVID, through all of you have persevered through COVID and online teaching. And I cannot imagine trying to teach kids over a video screen and all the challenges involved in that. You all have just persevered through such a crazy year, and I'm just so grateful that my wife here is one of you. You guys are truly stand above the rest in so many ways. How many teachers graduated and went through all their training in such a year as recovering from COVID? You guys are heroes in your own right. And you, Morgan, you're especially my hero. I love you so much.
Try not to cry. Nicole Sammartano started working for me. God, I'm so emotional. When my son was 7, I was a single mom and working nights as a nurse, and I had a difficult child. And you pulled me out of the trenches. I said I wasn't going to cry. You are right where you need to be. You helped my son. He's now 21 years old, and he's amazing. And it's all because of people like you who are my village. So continue doing what you do, You are amazing.
I was not planning on doing this. I, too, am here to support Nicole Sammartano. Woo! I am the older sister. There's 6 of us. We have a big family with a lot of love and a lot of passion. We feel things very deeply and strongly. We're Italian, so it makes it even bigger. I just want to say how deeply proud I am of you. You are so amazing with children. You've always been so kind and patient and loving and just finding the best in these little stinkers. I have 2 of my own, and I'm like, how does she do that so well? You make the most challenging thing seems like you do it so eloquently and with grace, and you've helped guide my husband and I with our children and just coming up with new ways of doing things, and I'm so proud of you. And the day that you said that you were going back to school, I mean, there was a lot of challenges to get you to that point, and there was a lot of signs that led you that way, and so I'm just proud of you for taking the chance and going for it, and we all, I'm going to speak for the family, couldn't be more proud of you. Love you.
I just want a picture from up here, that's all. No, really, I have to say something. I'm Christina. I am the youngest of the first litter. The first half. Anyways, there's 6 of us, but Nicole. Not enough things can be said about Nicole. She's 2 years older than me, so I've always been right behind you. I always looked up to you. I was not next to you. I was behind you. You were always kicking me out of the room. But she was just like the cool sister, you know? And I just always wanted to be like you, and I always wanted to aspire to be like you. And you know, when you were younger, you were mean. But as you got older, you know, you love wholeheartedly, and you sacrifice as much as you possibly, I mean, you know what you've done for me through my hard times, and you love no matter what. You're unconditional, and you're kind, and you give 1,000%, and you don't believe in giving up, and you don't believe in stopping, and you will go until you're like falling down on the floor because you set your mind on that. And I'm so proud that even though, you know, it had been a long time since your bachelor's degree, you were already immersed in what you were doing, and you decided to follow your dream, even though that's the direction that you were going on. Sorry, I'm rambling. But stop laughing at me. But I'm really proud. I am the baby. I do. Sorry. Okay, I'm done. I love you. Sorry.
I'll be quick. So, as you already heard, we have 6 people in the family. I'm the only son. And you have been more of a brother than I could have ever asked for. And I say that in the best way because you are so cool. Thanks, bro. So you made my room, if you remember. And my room is so cool now, especially because you have helped me follow through with the things that I wanted to continue in. Like all the goals that I've had, all the things that I like to play a part of, or just my interests, you have helped push me to take part in those. And it's because, don't cry, because I'm gonna start crying. Your strength has helped me a lot. And here you are. There's no counting or no one to say what you can't do. I'm just super proud of you.
I'm terrified of public speaking, which is why most of my work is one-on-one with students. I'm Mr. Oscar. I'm Mr. Freddie's brother. And I just want to take a moment and just share where my brothers come. And it's been a journey, and as a big brother, I feel really proud and excited to have seen it. And I see it with students, but to see it with my own brother is something that's truly, for me, it's empowering, and it helps me, try to move forward when things get hard. My brother's been a kiddo who I had to leave at an early age, and because I didn't have a big brother, I know how that feels. In my previous life, I was in the Marine Corps, and one agreement that I made with my brother, I said, I may not have had a lot, but as long as you give me good grades, you can have whatever you want. And in those few and rare occasions that we got mail overseas, and I would get his letters. And attached to those letters were his grades. Sitting there and just overseas, just reading my letters and seeing his grades, and I just knew I had to keep my word. We had a lot of cool little things that he got from those, but it got me thinking of that is some of the things that as a big brother, I could do for him. And I saw the same thing in him doing for my sister and eventually for his students. As a colleague, we tend to not talk shop a lot because when it's family time, we like to keep that family time. We have worked closely together with students, but for the most part, when we're together, it's about me and him. But that also lets me know that how professional he is and how calm he is. In his journey, he's taught me a lot. Going back to school, I joke with him, he's my human calculator, my human spell check. So in those long nights of writing my own graduate work, having him alongside was something calming for me. And I feel like the reason why I'm where I got to was because of him. And I'm excited that he gets to share that, and he gets to do that for not only my sister, but for his students. And I've seen it in action. Even though we don't talk shop, like, I know, because students leave my school and go over to his school, I know the students that he gets to work with. And when I see them in that next grade and I get to talk to them, I know the importance of everybody's work, including his. I went to his POL for, if you guys had the pleasure to seeing your students at their POL, or your graduates now at their POL, it's a very intense share out of what they've been working on. And one thing that I wish that my parents could be there to see how much work goes into it and how much work you guys give, and to include everything else that you guys have to do as teachers. When it comes to the term maestro or maestra, at least in our community that I've noticed that, like, it's a very endearing term. Therefore, sometimes, like, my colleagues are like, why don't you call me by my first name? It's like, well, I refer to you by either Miss, your last name, or Miss Becky, right? Because to me, you guys are educators. You have earned that term of endearment, that term of not just being educators in the academic sense, but to be able to instill just all these other SEL and different things that students need to thrive and continue to grow. Today, you guys have earned your maestria. Now, that doesn't change the fact that you guys are educators, or you weren't an educator with a bachelor's, but the term of endearment, if a teacher, if a parent ever calls you maestro, know that it's not necessarily your title, it's that esteem that they hold for you. And to hear that about my brother, it just makes me really proud, not only myself, but my family. So if you guys ever hear, or a family refers to you as maestro, know that that's something that is very deep and dear to them, and that it's not only about a connection academically, but they have made a connection with you as a person, as someone that they entrust with the academic and the SEL learning of their child. I know that was long-winded, but I am really proud of my brother, and I know that he couldn't have made it without all your support. So. To my parents, mi papá, mi mamá, I think for me, I will let them know that even though they don't necessarily understand what we do, because it's not a monotonous time, it's not every day is not the same, every day is different. They know that we go to work, come back tired, but they don't really understand the how much work you guys put in and day out. Papá y mi mamá, lo que hace mi hermano del día a día es algo que nunca platicamos. We don't have that time, no platicamos, pero es un trabajo que nos toma mucho de todos los maestros que trabajan con estudiantes. Y es gracias a usted, su paciencia, todas las cosas que nos han inculcado son gracias a ustedes, a mis abuelos que no nos pueden acompañar, pero de todo corazón les damos las gracias a usted y estamos muy orgullosos de ustedes porque, mire, tienen otro hijo que se acaba de graduar. Thank you.
Thanks to all, and if you did not have an opportunity to say what you would like to say to yourself or to your graduate or to your spouse or loved one, please do it in a few minutes when we eat and celebrate some more. I am going to close this out in a moment, but I realize I have one final little story to tell, and I promise won't be too long. But I'm thinking about this last couple of years. So 2 summers ago, the summer of 2020, schools had shut down abruptly, and then they sort of reopened virtually, and it was all very disruptive. And I was in the process of admitting many of the folks here into our 3rd cohort of teacher residents. And my family and I did a very crazy thing because my extended family is on the East Coast. Nobody felt safe to fly. And so I put my 2 fairly young children in a car with my spouse, and we drove 6,000 miles all the way to Maine and back to San Diego to see them. And on the way back, I think it was in Kansas, I got an email, and it was from Ben Daly, my boss. I think he might be in the other room right now. And it said, San Diego Unified is going virtual for the fall. We don't know for how long. High Tech High is going to follow suit. And I had this thought right then, and I've rarely shared this with anyone. I thought, this group of residents is going to be the lost cohort. Like, because I could just see the writing on the wall that schools were going to stay closed to in-person instruction for a long time. And I just remember thinking, like, how can we possibly train teachers to teach in classrooms when we're not in classrooms? And I almost pulled it. I almost said, we're not going to do this year. We're going to tell them to defer. And then I walked myself back from that, and we all went on this absurd journey last year. And everybody in this room was on that absurd journey, even if you weren't part of that cohort. And I'm not going to lie, there were moments last year when I continued to have that thought. Like, this is the lost cohort through no fault of their own. Like, we are not serving them. They are not learning to do the things they need to learn how to do. They deserve to learn because they don't have the opportunities, because we're all on computers in our back rooms, many of us with our own children sitting 5 feet away. And this is not the lost cohort. I feel so inspired by all of you just holding on to the sort of, it gets better, we're gonna get there. It's not quite how we imagined it, it never is, but this really was like, it really not how we imagined it. And I just want to acknowledge that this has been the most unusual and challenging, I hope, forever after. I hope there's no cohort from San Diego Teacher Residency or a master's degree ever again to have to do their training online. And I just feel so much hope looking at all of you and thinking about the teachers you are becoming and recognizing that it's still going to get better, and it's going to get better because of you and because you need to stay and see it through. And you will be the ones to help it get better. And obviously, we want schools to be places where all kinds of things happen that aren't yet happening. And we are not out of the pandemic, and things are still crazy, and there's still a lot of trauma, and there's still a lot of intensity. But I just feel a profound hope looking at all of you. So I want to just celebrate one last time our group of graduates here. Class of 2022. You all have earned a lot of dessert. We have a lot of dessert. Please join us out on the patio. Please give your graduates lots of unmasked hugs once you're out on the patio. We love you all. Congratulations. Are they coming up here? Yep, they're coming up here.
Is it still on? You.
Always tall. What do you mean? Yes, always on it. I don't even know. Yeah, pretty. Come in. We're gonna need some people with sorority squad. There we go. Yeah, but I'm not serious.
I don't know how.
I think we're done. With the hat? That looks like a death drop. That is a no. Someone's phone. Someone's tassel is right here also.